good morning. Chappie and I welcome you to Bookstore One Sarasota, and it's January and we have lots of great books to tell you about. Listen, Simply Jamie, okay? Jamie Oliver is a great cook. I know most of the people watching this do not cook, but if you ever had an emergency, he usually uses only 5 ingredients, so I know you can do it. Enjoy. Here we have Twice a Daughter. Julie Ryan McHugh is a local author, and she will be in the store soon. And she was adopted and had a twin, and they had to figure out all their back history. But she's a delightful woman, so Twice a Daughter I recommend. Julie Metz, Eva and Eve. So here's a long hidden story about letters that were written regarding someone, a search for my mother's lost childhood and what a war left behind. And Julie Metz will be in the store also. So Elizabeth Strout, we can't say enough about her. She's an incredible author. First of all, the cover just makes you think of springtime in Sarasota. But Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout is just part of her amazing stories about Maine, and I encourage you to read her. I saw this yesterday on the shelves. I'm fascinated by the setting in a snowy part of the world, The Lost House by Melissa Larson. It just reeks of true crime, and I'm going to read it and I recommend it to you. Girls on the Rise, Amanda Gorman. It's a wonderful poem that she's done. We are glowing and growing, knowing where the wind is blowing. We are where change is going. We love her, and we'll love this book. The Eye of the Impossible by Dave Eggers, who's a favorite. It actually won a Newbery Award. And it's highly recommended by Bryn, who's our program director, and I can't wait to read it. She described it as just a wonderful story. So it's Oscar season, and our hearts go out to Los Angeles, obviously, but Giant Love by Julie Gilbert. It's the story of the making of Giant, and I remember when Giant came out. That's how old I am. But it's a classic story of Edna Ferber, her best-selling novel of Texas, and there's James Dean, who was one of the stars. So I think you might enjoy that. Oh, and Vivian Lee was like the classic beauty of Forever, but underneath all of that is Where Madness Lies. And she had severe issues, obviously, with mental illness, and had an incredible marriage to Laurence Olivier. However, Laurence Olivier was not the man you would think. And finally, don't we just love Cher? I don't care how old you are. Cher is incredible. I remember when she was on the Academy Awards tonight when she had that incredible costume she wore. But at her age now, she looks just as good as she did years ago. And it's a great book and is on the bestseller list because she writes as incredibly as she is. So I recommend Cher.
Hi there, this is Andrea. I'm going to start with a calendar to remind you that we have lovely calendars in the store for 2025. And this one is an artist I've never heard of, Hilma of Klimt. I thought it was Gustav Klimt, but it wasn't. It's a different artist. Abstract, looks great. I kind of have a theme today. I have big books and I have little books. I'm gonna start with a couple of big ones. This is a new novel, Play World by Adam Ross, just came out last week. And it got like an amazing review in the Washington Post and the New York Times. It's semi-autographical, biographical story of a young man who's an actor, a dysfunctional family in New York, and there's something between him, in the 1980s it takes place, there's something between him and an older woman and it's supposed to be really interesting. It's on my to-be read list. Sounds great. Then I have this really big book. It's called Dark Motherland by Samrat Upadhyay, and it is a multi-generational huge story about China's, no, it's Nepali. So it just looks like really interesting. It has a great cover, has some really nice blurbs on the back. Ha Jin, who wrote Waiting. Anyway, if you like big, multi-generational, interesting books, this one looks like it, Motherland. Then I have a couple of smaller ones. This is My Darling Boy by John Dufresne. He is actually a Florida author. He teaches at Florida International University. It's a story of a father and son, and the young man has addiction problems. Takes place in Florida. Looks really interesting. He's a very prolific author. I think he's written over 20-something novels. And then this one sounds really good to me. I also have this on my list. It's called Rental House by Weiki Wang. I like kind of a little bit odd books, and this sounds like one of those. It's a young couple, married couple. He's Chinese and she's Chinese and he's American. He's from the Midwest, and they take two separate trips with their different sets of parents and their dog. And what happens in the family relationships, it just sounds different, and it's also gotten really good write-ups. Next I have a tiny little book. Tiny. This is one of our most popular poetry books, I have to say. It's a collection of poems about cats. And we just sell tons of copies of this little thing. And I mean, who wouldn't want that? It's so cute. Look at that kitty. And then I have a super big book, which is the McCartney Legacy. Elsie was talking about celebs. This is the second volume of McCartney's life. So if you want to know more than you ever wanted to know about Paul McCartney, then I would recommend this book for you. And if you want to know a little bit about Taylor Swift, I would recommend this one, Heartbreak is the National Anthem by Rob Sheffield. He's a well-known music critic and writer, and actually he's a journalist, and this book has gotten a lot of attention. It's more like Next we have another really big book, and we sold one of these beautiful cookbooks yesterday. It's a French Laundry per se Thomas Keller cookbook. If you know anything about food, then this is like an incredibly beautiful book. The French Laundry is an amazing restaurant in Napa, California, and Per Se is an amazing restaurant in New York. And it's so big that I can hardly open it to show you the pictures. But anyway, if you're into beautiful cookbooks, I would recommend this. And finally, I read this adorable picture book yesterday, Victor, the Wolf with Worries, and it's this young wolf, and he's worried about everything, and he has a friend, Pablo, and Pablo, the other wolf, teaches him how to get over worrying about things, and it's absolutely charming. And if you have a child who has a tendency to worry, then I would definitely recommend this, or if you have worries, it can cheer you up too. Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. We're at Bookstore 1 Sarasota, 117 South Pineapple Avenue.